Hey everyone. It's nice to see so many of you in the chat right now. It's so funny. These Ron reels. My heart is always pounding like I'm doing this for the very first time. It's so funny how I get so nervous. I can come up here and talk about anything else. No problem. But this one, I'm already crying. Wow. So, I'm going to wait just maybe a few more seconds here while more of you jump in. Hi, everyone. Yeah, these moments are real. I don't even know why I'm so brought to tears already. Because it's really actually a very happy story, and it's a really inspiring story, and that's why I want to share it. But I think it's just been such a long journey, a long road to get to this point. So, yeah. So, if you're new to my channel and you haven't caught any of my Raw and Real videos yet, this is a series that I started in November of 2019 to, one, start to heal a very abandoned part of myself that I discovered. My inner child of 5 years old, 6 years old, was abandoned when I was sexually abused by someone, and a much, much older man. And so if you haven't caught any of those videos, I at least highly suggest watching number one. And it's on my, it's on my website if you can't find it on my YouTube channel, but it is on the homepage under my playlists in the Raw and Reel. So a few days ago, I had a very important conversation with the two people in my life that I really needed to hear me most. And as many of you may know, I had told this story on my YouTube channel, but I know my parents don't get my videos. They're not really techies or on computers much other than to do basic things. And so I knew they wouldn't be seeing them, which was why I felt comfortable putting the videos out, because I, of course, would never want them to find out watching one of my videos and not hearing it from me. And so it was finally time to break my silence and tell the two people I was scared to tell the most. And before I told them, I decided to go into meditation because I was feeling a lot of anxiety coming up. All of the fears of when I was 5, 6 years old when this happened to me were surfacing, really coming through very potently. And it made me, because of that, I was able to really connect with that part of me who was so scared when this happened and didn't know if she should tell someone or not. And I carried it by myself. I decided not to tell anyone. One, I was told not to say anything to my parents, but two, I was really scared of what might happen. And so I finally told them the story. And it was something I just had to kind of get through. I knew I just had to kind of blurt it out. I tried to go in as gently as I possibly could, but I've known this for about a year now, and I've been not telling them for a year. And so when I finally told them, they were shocked. They had no idea. And they were like, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you tell us when it happened? And I told them, well, and then they stopped me and they said, did he tell you not to tell us? And I said, yes. And I said, but I also didn't know if anyone would believe me. And they were like, no, of course we would have believed you. And I said, well, I didn't know that at the time. I'm only five years old. And I said, I also didn't know. I also felt like I had done something bad. I had done something wrong to deserve it. What if I deserved what happened to me? And their hearts were breaking when they heard that. And I said, I also was afraid of the pain that it would cause the family. If I was this hurt, it would cause everyone else to be this hurt. And being little empaths and starseeds when we're really young, we know this. We don't want other people to feel what we're feeling when it's that bad. And so I said, I kept it to myself. And what I heard next, I was not prepared for. I had no idea. My dad looked at me and he said, Nicole, now that you're saying this, I should probably tell you that I know exactly how you feel because it happened to me too. And I was stunned. And he said, and of course I'm not going to get into the details because it's his story and it's not mine to tell. But he was also sexually abused 2 times. One when he was 11 and one when he was 14. And both by people outside of the family. And he said that he knows how I feel because you feel so much shame. You feel like you did something wrong to deserve that. And you feel dirty. And I was like, there were so many things that were going through my mind as he's telling me. 1, my heart's breaking. 2, I'm like, I never expected one of my parents to relate, to be able to actually relate and know exactly what I've been feeling. And I realized when I looked at my mom, she had no idea. This was the first time my father was able to get it off his chest, say what happened to him. And I realized in that moment that by breaking my silence, I enabled him to break his. And I saw something today that I really wanted to share with you guys because it's so important for everyone to understand the power behind our voice and coming forward on these subjects. And I'm just going to pull it up here. Let me just get out of the way. One second here. There we go. So I saw this and it says, what you heal within yourself, you heal for your entire family line. And in that moment, I realized that I helped to liberate some of my father's pain just by healing my own. And this definitely, I realized too, I know that when I forgave my abuser, when I was able to move through all of the different emotions, and it took some time, it's not something that happened overnight, but I was very diligent with my healing journey, that I know that I felt the healing penetrate all space and time through the DNA, through the healing. And I know that my abuser was liberated too, because he was abused as a child. And so this is something that I think we have to be really mindful of, let me just clear that when we actually use our voice and we have enough courage to come forward and break the silence, that someone may be waiting for the courage to be shown to them to break theirs. And he said to me, he goes, I understand why you didn't tell us, because I didn't tell anyone. He goes, part of the reason I didn't tell my dad was because I knew he would have killed one of the men that did that to him. And I looked at my dad and I said, that's actually, I knew deep down that if I told you, you might, well, I'm sure kill didn't come into my mind at 5, but definitely hurt. I had a feeling you would do that to him. And he looked me dead in the eyes and he said, I would have. You're right. I would have. And he said, it changes you. Those moments change you forever. They change who you are, and they change your entire life trajectory. And I said, they do. They really do. And I said, it's a lot more common than people realize. And he said, it really is. It happens way more than we realize, but we never hear about it. No one ever talks about it. And so I'm really lucky. I consider myself blessed in this situation for being able to share that. So what happened next was the next day, I was so tired that day that I told them I had to go to bed early, and I was just exhausted, like really exhausted. And so the next day I was in meditation, and I was like, I need to check in with my inner child. You guys know how much of an inner child healer like I am, like I'm all about that. And I kind of checked in with her, and I saw her, and she was so exhausted. It's almost like she looked like she had been waking up from some drugged sleep, which she wasn't, but that's how she looked. Like she could barely make it over to me. She was so sleepy, and she just had she kind of just slumped in my arms when she got to me. And I held her in my arms and just held her head against my chest. And I realized, yeah, you are absolutely exhausted. For 37 years, you've been carrying this secret alone. You've been carrying the burden. And I don't think any of us really truly realize the weight, the energetic and emotional weight that these sort of trauma events have on us. Because when we're older, we have a tendency to minimize them because our world is so much bigger. But when you're a child, your world is super small, and everything is just so much bigger than it, and of course you're so innocent. And when these things happen, they imprint you and you carry them. And so I realized, yeah, you get to sleep now. You just get to rest. You've carried this for so long, and you do not have to carry it alone anymore. Other people are going to help carry it for you. And later that night, I had a light language and galactic activation reading done for myself by the girl who's going to be on my podcast next week. Do not miss it. You guys have not seen anything like this before. I'm so glad I found her. She offered to do a transmission for me, and it was really great timing. I timed it for the lunar eclipse, but I, of course, had no idea that it was going to be right after I told my parents. And throughout she will do light language transmissions, and then she translates what she understands in English and then goes back to light language. And towards the end, she was doing this transmission, and then she would say, "It's be very vulnerable. Don't worry about trying to mentally understand the words that are coming through the transmission. She goes, feel it in your heart, feel it in your heart. They want you to really surrender. And so I really just allowed myself to completely let go, abandon my mind, and completely drop into my heart. And as the light language started to come through, I understood the messages. And I wanted to read to you because, of course, I journaled it. And this was the message that they were saying to me as I was there. They were saying, let go. It's your turn to be held. Let us hold you. Let us carry you for once. It's your time to rest and be held. And I just burst into tears when that message came through, because this energy has been weighing down on me for decades. I'm the one who's always had to take care of myself. I'm the one who's always had to be my one supporter. I don't really know what it's like to be supported. And I think this was a very pivotal point in my journey of finally being able to surrender that and allow people in to take care of me and not be the one who has to carry it, and not be afraid of the perceived burden that I might be putting on other people by sharing that trauma. And so what happened was, when I was with my inner child, what I did, and I'm telling you guys this because I know a lot of you are working with your inner child, and I think by sharing what I do may help. I am working on designing an online course for the inner child because I realize so many people have no idea what to do, and I totally get that. Fortunately, this is something that comes very naturally to me. And so I want to share with you guys what happened when I was holding her. So one of the things that's been coming up for me all year since I found out this was this need, one, for boundaries, how important it is for me to set my boundaries. And if anyone's kind of crossing them, I have to stand up for myself immediately, which is why I've put out some of the videos I've put out this year. And two, also realizing how important feeling safe is, and having a safe home or environment in my reality, and how much safety and stability means to me, because I haven't had that. Obviously, since that trauma point, I've never felt safe again. I've never known who to trust. My heart's been guarded. And so with her, I kind of instantly was transported into this, I want to say cabin, log stone, big cabin that would maybe be something like you'd see in Montana. And there was just a massive fireplace in this huge grand room of a family room type environment. And the fireplace was just roaring, and it was cozy, and my two dogs from my childhood were there, and there were big animal throws on the floor and big throw pillows. And so I laid her on the pillows and got more blankets on top of her, and she laid down beside the dogs, and I laid down with her, and I said, "You're home now. You're home. Everything's going to be fine now. You're safe. And you're home." And that was one of the things that was so important at the beginning of this journey, was when we understand soul retrieval, okay? Retrieving the fractal parts of our soul that we've abandoned just in this lifetime alone. This was one point of where I had abandoned that part of my soul. So it had become a fractal and disconnected from me. And one of the messages that she kept sending me through my healing sessions with the person that I use for my healing is that she wanted to come back home. She didn't want to be left out in the cold, and she felt like she had been rejected, and she had done something bad. And so all of the things that, of course, I felt in that moment. And so it was really important for me to embrace her, even though she represented the trauma and the pain and having to go back into the darkest aspects. And so that was really important. And so that's kind of how I left her there with the dogs, knowing that you continue to go on your day, but that was a really happy place for me, a safe place, the warmth, the coziness of the fire. It feels very, it reminded me of some really happy moments in my childhood. And it's just somewhere where I always feel good, curled up by a fire with lots of blankets and throw pillows. And of course, if there's dogs, that's always amazing. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys on this raw and real. And I really appreciate you guys being here with me. I will say it again. I know I said it before, but having an audience while I speak my truth is really important to my healing process. I know that it's got a domino effect in that it will also assist others in their own healing and perhaps giving them courage to come forward or understand what's happening within them on a deeper level. But for me, it really does help me move through things even faster. And so for that, you guys are all helping me facilitate my own healing. And so for that, I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful. And I want you guys to know that, how much I appreciate that. Holding space. You're holding space for me. Even though this is all virtually done, I feel your energy and it's really helpful. And I want you guys to know that. We break the time-space barrier always. So that's my story of breaking the silence. And as sad as some of the information is that came forward, in the end, it's very healing and very positive and liberating. And so that's all we can really ask for during these times, and this is why, while we're all desperately wanting the truth to come out on the main stage of the world, we have to understand how willing we are to reveal the truths within us that have been hidden. Is highly going to be steering how the world stage operates, because we're the microcosm. And the microcosm, when in abundance, definitely affects the macrocosm. So it's really important for us to do our part, and this is one of the ways that we do our part. So I'm just kind of looking here at the comments. I've kind of not been able to look at the comments in order to get my story out and not pause. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. And it's just so nice to see you all. And so, this, I guess, next Tuesday, next week, I will have the girl on who did that transmission for me. And I promise you, what she does, you haven't seen before. I haven't seen it before until I saw her. And I really want her to get more of an audience. I want more eyes on her because, one, more people need to be seeing her work. It's highly inspirational, active. It's very activating. I can't tell you how much I start feeling activating in my own body when I see her work and listen to her. So I'm really excited to bring her on, and she'll be doing a transmission live on the podcast. But there's more to it. It's not just a transmission. It's not. There's visual stuff there for you as well. And I promise you, it's nothing you've ever seen before. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. And I love you all. Thank you so much for being here in the audience. Thank you so much for showing up here with me. Just remember that many of us have come here to heal ancestral lines, to heal the pain that has been carried over generations, to clear it from our DNA. And you may even have the opportunity to help other family members if they so wish. Of course, I went in with clearly no expectations because I had no idea that this even existed with one of my parents. So the important thing is that you're doing it for you and you honor that. And just by being that model, you may give someone else the courage to do that for themselves. All right, guys, love you so much. If you need any more information about me, my website's NicoleFrolick.com. And stay tuned. I will be on James Gilliland's radio show, As You Wish Radio, on his channel, ESETI Stargate. Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. Love to see you guys in the live chat if you can make it over there. And might be collaborating with them on, I'm actually doing a couple collaborations for the 12/21 portal guys. I have so much I'm going to be bringing forward for you guys for that portal date. Things that are going to be activating for you, classes. I'm going to get more into that, and perhaps even something here now with James. So love you guys so much, and I'll be back with you guys.